Lesson 1-5, Solving Inequalities. Let's take a look at an inequality, and the addition property states that as long as you add the same thing to both sides, the inequality remains true. And if you subtract the same thing on both sides, the inequality is true, either for greater than or less than. Let's go ahead and do a problem. Now, I'm going to solve for y. It's very similar to solving with inequality. You're going to add 6 to both sides. And you can go ahead and do that, and it continues to be a less than problem. And then to graph this, we're going to put a circle around 9 in all values that are less than that. Let's go ahead and solve this one. I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides, so that'll be 5w is greater than 4w plus 6. So I've subtracted 3 on both sides. Now I'm going to subtract 4w on both sides, so this will be w is greater than 6. So how do I graph this? Well, I'm going to put a circle around 6. That means don't include 6, but all values that are greater than that. Notice I haven't changed my greater than sign. It's the same all the way through. Okay, here I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So 5x is going to be greater than 4x plus 5. And I'm going to subtract 4x on both sides, so this will be x is greater than 5. Notice the greater than sign continues all the way through. I'm going to put a circle around 5 and all values greater than 5. And that's a graph of all the solutions there. Your turn. Pause. And here's the answer. Notice that less than continued all the way through. Now let's talk about multiplication of equality. When you're multiplying by a positive number on both sides, then you continue, if you're greater than, you continue to be greater than. So in this case right here, we have a less than problem. I multiply both sides by positive 6. It continues to be a less than situation. Now, if you multiply by a negative number, okay, multiplying by a negative number causes something a little different. So here's the greater than symbol. If I multiply by a negative number on both sides, notice that I am going to get negative 48 and 20, positive 28. And what happens is the inequality will get reversed. As soon as you multiply by a negative number, it reverses. So if you have a greater than symbol and you multiply by a negative number, it reverses. If you have a less than symbol and you multiply by a negative number, it reverses. And the same thing happens with division as well. If you are dividing by a positive number, nothing changes. Divide by a positive number, nothing changes. It becomes less than. But once you divide by a negative number over here, then it changes from less than to greater than for the rest of the problem. All right, let's take a look at this problem and see how we solve it. The first thing we'd like to do is we'd like to get the numerator by itself, so we're going to multiply both sides by 6. Multiplying by 6 does not change the inequality, so we continue to do that. Then we're going to get rid of 5c, so we're going to subtract 5c. Adding or subtracting doesn't change the sense, so we have this. But now to get c by itself, I'm going to divide by a negative number, and when I do that, I have to change the inequality, and that becomes greater than or equal to negative 2. And this is going to be the solution, the graph of the solution. Okay, I'd like you to pause and see what you can do. And here's the answer. Pause and see what you can do. And here's the answer. Pause to see if you can find the error. And they both made an error.